Good morning, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Larry. Different stages of retirement. I've been retired about a year full time. All told about a year. I kind of phased into it, so my story is a little different, but I think there's different stages of retirement. I think I've hit all four of them in a pretty short amount of time. I think nobody ever teaches us how to retire. We see others doing it and we think we know what we want to do, but nobody ever teaches us a different stages of retirement. That's what I'm going to talk about today. 10,000 people in the United States, 10,000 people retire every day and will for the next 10 to 15 years. And people, that's a lot of people who are retiring. So that statistic just kind of blew me away. We could live another 20 years. We could live 1 year. We could live a month. We don't know. But nobody teaches us what's coming on. Now here's what we're taught. Here's what we are taught. Y'all ever see that commercial on television? I think it was for some finance company or a financial planners or something. Shows this good-looking couple, probably 70 years old. He's tall, handsome, athletic, well-built, got a full head of hair, and he's walking down the beach hand in hand with his beautiful wife. She's gray hair naturally, and she's just drop dead. Gorgeous. And they're walking along, kind of skipping along, and yeah, this is retirement. Did anybody here besides me not relate to that? I couldn't not relate to that at all. But that's what we're sold. That's what we're sold. That's what retirement is going to be. And I don't know about anybody else, but that is not what retirement ended up being for me. It's just not realistic. It's just not realistic. First stage, I noted this right away. First stage, when I wasn't looking for that next job, every day feels like a vacation. And it is. Since I phased into it, it even seemed that way to me. There's no job, there's no next job, there's no rush hour traffic, there's no schedule, when I left for work in the morning, and my wife knew this, she knew this from just about when we got married. When I left for work in the morning, I rarely knew when I was going to be home that night. I just didn't know. My job was done when the work was done, period. Good morning and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Larry. Today I want to talk about the different stages of retirement. I've been fully retired for about a year now. Well, officially anyway. I kind of eased into it over time, so my situation was a little different. But even in that short time, I feel like I've already gone through all four stages of retirement, and honestly, nobody really teaches us how to retire. We watch other people do it, we think we understand what it's going to feel like, we imagine what we'll do with all that free time, but nobody talks about the emotional side of it. Nobody explains the stages you go through once work is no longer part of your life. That's what I want to talk about today. Right now, around 10,000 people retire every single day in the United States, and that number is expected to continue for the next 10 to 15 years. That's a massive number of people stepping into a completely different phase of life. And the truth is, none of us really know what's coming. We might live another 20 years. We might live one more year. We might live another month. Nobody knows. But even with something this important, nobody really prepares us for what retirement actually feels like. Now here's what we are taught. You've probably seen those retirement commercials on TV. Maybe it's for a financial company or some retirement planner. They show this perfect-looking couple, probably around 70 years old. The husband is tall, athletic, handsome, full head of hair. The wife has beautiful gray hair, looks absolutely stunning, and they're walking hand in hand down the beach. Smiling, laughing, almost skipping through the sand, like that's retirement, and maybe it's just me. But I could never relate to that at all, because that's what gets sold to us. That's the picture we're given of retirement, and for me, that's not what retirement turned out to be. Not even close. It's just not realistic. Now the first stage of retirement. I noticed it almost immediately. At first, every single day feels like a vacation, and honestly it does feel amazing. Since I slowly phased into retirement, maybe that made it easier for me, but suddenly there was no next job waiting for me. No morning rush, no traffic, no strict schedule, nothing pulling at me all the time, when I used to leave for work in the morning. My wife already knew something very important. I usually had no idea what time I'd be coming home that night. I just didn't know. My workday ended when the work was finished, period. I can't tell you how many times I worked. I went in early or stayed late, maybe 6, 7, even 8 at night, because guess what? Carpet was going into this job the next day. It had to be done. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It had to be done. So Larry stayed, and if I could talk some of my guys in the stand, they stayed too. They got paid well for it, but I don't have any of that now. There's no daily deadlines, but by and large, standard operating day for me, it was about 6 o'clock in the morning till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but there is no standard in retirement, and it's different for everybody. Everybody loves this stage, but for some people it lasts a long time. For me, it lasted about 3 months. After about 3 months, I said, okay, what's next? And this is where the second stage for me came in. I felt lost. I had no work, no purpose, no relationships, no people, and I got depressed. Not debilitating depression like you see some people have, but I got depressed. I didn't know what to do with myself. We'd rehabbed our house right after the pandemic. We decided to stay in our house. I rehabbed all that, had no major projects other than normal day-to-day maintenance and no major projects to do. I didn't know what to do with myself. The things I wanted to do I could no longer do physically. What I did my whole working career was I was big into whitewater rafting at the Gully River numerous times, New River numerous times. My wife Wendy and I went, we even went together at least once on the lower New, and she had a ball. She had an absolute fun time, and she saw what I enjoyed about it. I also did a lot of backpacking, hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of miles, and I really enjoyed that. I thought, man, when I retire, I want to be able to do all this. Well, then all of a sudden I retired and I was old and I couldn't do it anymore. I physically could not do it. I think my last backpacking trip was about 2 years ago. I thought, well, I can't do much, but I think I can hike in. So I hiked in about 2 miles to one of my favorite trails and set up camp and stayed the night and came back out, walked out 2 miles. I mean, that was as far as I could go. I couldn't physically do it. I can't even count how many times I went into work early or stayed late, sometimes until 6, 7, even 8 at night, because the job had to get done. Maybe carpet installers were coming in the next morning. Maybe another crew was scheduled right behind us. Either way, there was no "we'll finish tomorrow." It had to be done. So Larry stayed, and if I could convince a few of my guys to stay too, they stayed. Of course, they got paid well for it, but now, none of that exists anymore. No deadlines, no daily pressure, no people depending on me to finish something before the end of the day. Back then, my normal schedule was usually around 6 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon, but retirement has no standard schedule. Every day is different, and honestly, most people love that first stage of retirement. For some people it lasts years. For me, it lasted about 3 months. After that I started asking myself, okay, now what? And that's when the second stage hit me. I felt completely lost. No work, no real purpose, no co-workers, no daily interaction. And yeah, I got depressed. Not severe depression like some people go through, nothing debilitating, but I definitely felt it. I didn't know what to do with myself anymore. Right after the pandemic, my wife and I completely remodeled our house. We decided we were going to stay there long term, so I poured myself into that project, and once it was finished, that was it. No major projects left, just normal day-to-day maintenance, and suddenly I realized I had nothing pulling me forward anymore. The hardest part was realizing the things I always dreamed about doing in retirement. I physically couldn't do any more. Most of my working life, I was extremely active. I went whitewater rafting on the Gauley River multiple times, the New River too. My wife Wendy even came with me once on the Lower New, and she absolutely loved it. I also spent years backpacking, hundreds of miles, maybe thousands, and I truly loved it. For years I kept telling myself, when I retire, I'll finally have time to do all of this even more. But then retirement finally came. And I was old, and my body just couldn't do it anymore. I physically couldn't do the things I had spent years dreaming about. I think my last backpacking trip was about 2 years ago. I told myself, okay, maybe I can still do a small one. So I hiked about 2 miles into one of my favorite trails, set up camp, stayed overnight, then hiked the 2 miles back out the next day, and honestly, that was all I had left physically. I just couldn't do more than that anymore. I didn't really have any hobbies at home. All my hobbies had always been outdoors, and no offense to golfers. I know a lot of people love golf, but that was never me. It never interested me at all. At one point, I even started thinking about getting a part-time job. I actually had a few offers. One day during that phase, I ran into someone I knew over at Home Depot. She was a manager there at the time, and she said, "Hey Larry, when are you coming to work for us part-time?" And I told her, "I'm not ready for that yet, but I'll let you know." I even thought about substitute teaching for a while. I do have a college degree, so technically I could go babysit a classroom for a day and make a little money, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized I just didn't want to deal with kids anymore. Nothing against the kids, seriously. I just didn't have the energy or desire for that stage of life. Then eventually, stage 3 showed up. I finally got through that lost phase. Now I've been self-employed most of my life, so I've always had that mindset of creating something on my own. One day I was sitting around watching YouTube videos like millions of other people do, and I remember thinking, you know what? I may not be the world's greatest communicator, but I can probably do at least as well as this guy. The guy I was watching had around 30,000 subscribers at the time, and I thought, yeah, I could probably do that. So I started a YouTube channel. Honestly, it came out of pure boredom. I just needed something to do, something to focus on, something that felt like a hobby. Then a couple weeks later, I got monetized, and suddenly I realized, oh crap, this is actually a real business now. That's when the real work started. At first, my goal was simple. I just wanted to make a few extra $100 a month, something to ease the financial side of retirement a little bit. But the nice thing was, I could do it on my own schedule, my own time, my own pace, my own rules, and honestly, it's worked out really well for me. Honestly, I've been completely overwhelmed by all of it. In a good way, and in some ways I feel like the real work is only beginning now, because now I want to improve the channel even more. I want to make better videos, better content, more meaningful conversations, and that's actually harder than people think. I've also always tried to take care of my health, but during this phase of retirement, I became much more intentional about it, much more disciplined. I've always exercised, but now I finally had the time to stay consistent with it. And then eventually, stage 4 arrived. At least, this is what I personally call stage 4, and honestly, I may have reached it faster than some people do, simply because of the way I retired, but that's okay. Retirement isn't a race. Now at this stage, what I really want is simple. I want to keep creating content that actually means something honest, something useful, something with purpose, and to everyone who watches this channel, I truly appreciate you. At this point in my life, I just want to be a small light in a dark world. That's all, just a small light, because the truth is, every single person is fighting some kind of battle. Doesn't matter how much money they have, doesn't matter what their life looks like from the outside. Everybody is carrying something heavy, and if I can show a little kindness, if I can be one small bright spot in someone's day, then maybe that's enough. I also want to reconnect with people more now. Old friends, new friends. I finally have the time for it, and thankfully I've got a little extra money now too, which means I can actually go do some of those things more often. But at the end of the day, here's what I've really learned through all of this. You have to keep moving forward. Sure, there are things we can learn by looking back, but I'm trying to keep my eyes forward now. I want to become the best version of myself that I can possibly be at 72 years old, and honestly, I still don't fully know what that version looks like yet. I'm still figuring it out, but I do know this. I'm content. I'm content with my life. I'm content with my lifestyle. I'm content with the things I have. That doesn't mean I'm always happy. That doesn't mean every day is joyful, but deep down, I'm content, and honestly, that's a pretty good place to be. If any of this connected with you, that's really all I wanted to share today. These are just some of the stages of retirement that I've personally noticed. If you've experienced retirement too, let me know in the comments what stages you went through. I'm sure there are plenty of things I left out, and if you got something meaningful from this video, I'd appreciate it if you liked, shared, or subscribed. I don't do brand deals, I don't do sponsorships, and I probably never will. So your support genuinely helps this channel more than you know. Until next time, I'm going to keep pressing forward toward that goal.